Start your day the joyful way. It's your weekday morning talk show inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes. And now here's your host, the queen of joy herself, Jessica Dugas. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and you are watching Project Joy Live. It is your triple shot of good vibes every weekday morning, only on the Breakthrough Show Network. See, we get you set up. We get you ready for the day here. We get you ready for all of the other amazing shows that are going on the Breakthrough Show Network. And, I'm really proud of what we do here on this show. I truly am. This was this past month. Today is obviously the last day of May, and this past month was the first month that we have had, first time that we've had guest series, and we didn't just have one, we didn't have two, we didn't have three, we had 4 guest series plus an additional guest that popped in last Tuesday. And it's been a wonderful experience. It truly has. I've gotten so much amazing feedback from everybody, and I'm really excited to give kind of an overview of how amazing May was tomorrow. And really excited to jump in and share some of my favorite moments with you. And, it continues to be, this network is in a way a selfish experience for me because I use my intuition when it comes to booking the shows, having different shows on, different guests, hosts, all of those things. I just lean into my intuition and I run with it. And I never really know how it's going to turn out. I mean, look, even the most gifted of psychic mediums, you just, sometimes things happen and you just don't know. And so it has been a cool experience for me to watch what happens when I lean into that intuition and I watch it play out, and I'm just sitting back going, oh my God. And it's the coolest experience for me because I get so much out of it. I get so much out of the experience that I'm sitting back going, well, at least at the end of the day, I know one person got something out of it. And so it can be like a little, I feel afterwards like a little bit selfish, like it was great for me. So I hope it was for other people. But it's just been, this whole ride, this whole journey has been such a cool experience. And July 6th is the Breakthrough Show's 4th birthday. And we didn't become a network until later, but the Breakthrough Show is what started it all. And we have something really amazing planned for all of you guys on that day. It's a Wednesday, and I can't wait to be sharing a little bit more about that coming up in future. What is going on today? Listen, we have reached the point of the season here in North Alabama where it's in the 90s every day. I can promise you your girl is not outside. I am not outside, not even in a little bit. So yeah, no. No. But yesterday was a good time. I did go out for a minute, was not outside for long. I could literally walk from here to the car. Because I shared yesterday that it was my son's 21st birthday. So his dad and I took him to celebrate by taking him for margaritas, of course. And they came out and put the sombrero on his head and sang to him and all of that good stuff. So that was a lot of fun. I think he had a good time. He worked yesterday. I shared this yesterday. He worked, and I was like, that's how you know that you've reached, real adulthood, is when you have to work on your birthday, because literally no one cares. No, but I was so proud of him because he took that shift, and because they needed someone. He's like, I don't care, I'll take the shift. And he did. And he said everybody treated him really well for his birthday, got a birthday discount at the store and all of that as well. And so that was nice. Came home after margaritas. My daughter had made his request, which was red velvet cake, and so we had that. Let me see if I took a photo. Of course, I took a photo of cake. You all know I took a photo of cake. Okay, red velvet cake. There, my daughter always puts her whole foot in it, as they say. She does amazing with all the vegan desserts around here, and did awesome. So the cake was delicious. She made baked ziti. That was good too. Should have put my snack disclaimer up, but I apologize. So it was a good day yesterday. It was a good day. And it was a bittersweet moment at the end of the day. I looked at my calendar before I go to bed. And I'm like, it's a bittersweet moment because today is the last day, as I mentioned, of our May series. And even though we're going to do a recap tomorrow, don't worry. But Laura Mazzotta is on today to finish off her series on empowerment that we've been doing, and also finishing off the series in general. So it's a bittersweet moment here, but I'm very excited because later on this week, I'm going to be telling you what's coming up for June. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you guys stay tuned for the rest of this week. We're going to have some fun. We have announcements to make. Thursday will be my big personal announcement, which anybody that has known me personally for years probably is going to want to tune in for this. Probably going to want to tune in for this. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right, you guys, head over to the comments section. Let me know what is bringing you joy today, and let's see who's joining. And Mandy is here this morning. I see lots of you joining us and not saying anything. Say hello. Say good morning. Don't just hang around. Say good morning, and let us know what's bringing you joy. Good to see you here this morning, Mandy. Also, she said in NYC, it'll be 95. No, thank you. So here's the thing. I agree. In where I grew up in Connecticut, it's going to be 87 today, which is pretty high. But the rest of the week, 60s and 70s. I am here for that. Okay. I am outside. I am hanging by the water. I am going to the store. I am a happy Jessica. This 90s on 100 stuff, not a fan, not even a little bit. Thank you so much, Mandy. Yes, it was an awesome day. I can't believe he's 21. I'm kind of in denial, if I'm being honest. I don't know what happened. I don't know where the time. Can we all get an amen for that? The AC always brings me joy. The AC is my friend. I just don't belong here. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Listen, let's talk about some national days today. Let me know if there is anything in particular that you are celebrating today. There's a few things going on. It's National Smile Day. Smiles are amazing. And I hope you find a reason to smile today. And if you are so inclined, give other people a reason to smile today as well. It's also National Utah Day. So if we have any viewers from Utah, happy Utah Day to you. I hope you do something special to celebrate today. It's also National Save Your Hearing Day. Be mindful of your hearing, you guys, because otherwise you can't hear anything. Redundant, I know. Hearing is vital. And apparently, I think I was reading about half the cases of hearing loss are completely preventable. And that, that kind of stuff makes me sad when we talk about different health things that we know are preventable, yet we are stubborn as hell and we do things that are not good. Okay. Some of the factors that can add to hearing loss: age, noise, genetic illness, neurological disorders, medications, chemicals, physical trauma, and neurobiological factors. So pay attention to your hearing, you guys. It is important. If you know you can prevent it, why not try? It is also National Macaroon Day. I love some macaroons, let me tell you. It celebrates the small coconut cookie that is full of flavor and variety too. Sometimes they're dipped in chocolate. Hello. I get these ones that are vegan. Typically, macaroons have egg whites in them, but I get them. There's vegan ones that I get, and they have little cocoa nibs in there and covered in chocolate. Oh my God. They are so good. So good. Apparently, the Italians, hello, woo, woo, receive credit for creating these sweet morsels sometime around the 8th or 9th century. The recipes later traveled to France. However, in other parts of the world, the once flourless cookie served its purpose during religious observances. Interesting. Typically, they include flour, sugar, or sweetened condensed milk, and egg whites and flavoring, dropped onto baking sheets and baked. Do not mistake these for macarons. Macarons are the round, flat, with usually like cream inside. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the mounds of coconut, the little look like little coconut hills. They're so good, so good. You've never had a macaroon? Mandy, we must fix this. That's it. I'm gonna make you macaroons and bring them when I come up through. That'll be awesome. So let me know if there's anything else that you are celebrating today. Let me see what else is going on around the world while we're waiting for our guest to come on today. I've got to get myself together, you guys, because anybody else, let me know if this is you. Let me know if this is you, that the end of the month comes and you're like, it just hit out of nowhere that the end of the month is here. And then you have this moment where you go, the next day, where did the beginning of the month come from? Like if you... if you told yourself that it was the end of the month, the day before, why would we be surprised that it's the beginning of the month the next day? Anybody else do that? Let me know, because I am so like that. It's a little bit insane. I realize I sound completely crazy with this, but end of the month, I'm like, I can't believe, where has May gone? And I just like that, tomorrow you will hear me say, June is here already. Like today, I did not just say, where did May go? I just don't know what's wrong with me. Let me know if anybody else is like that. I'm good at managing time in the moment. Like really good with being like, okay, I have an hour to do this. Let's go. Let's get down to business. But when it comes with the time in the big sense of the word, I'm like, I have no idea what day it even is. It's such a yin yang experience for me. Listen, you guys, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back with our special guest today to finish out our May series and her May series on empowerment, Laura Mazzotta. So we'll be right back after this.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, Change the way you look at and live your life and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. It's the last day of May, as I was just sharing, in case anybody else is shocked out there like I am. I'm really excited, but it's also, like I've been saying for the last, 5-6 days or so, bittersweet moment here, because this means that our May series are ending, but it creates a space for new things as well. So I am excited about that. And I'm thrilled to have back on the show my friend, the amazing Akashic goddess, the confidence queen. Please welcome back my friend, Laura Mazzotta. Welcome back, Laura.
Hi!
Hi. I told you news behind the scene that you can't share with anybody.
I'm literally ready to jump out of my chair.
I have been like that ever since last week when I'm like, okay, Thursday will be the announcement, but it's literally killing me. It's killing me.
I can see why, because it's killing me.
It's killing me 100%. But listen, you have been off on a wild adventure last week. You held your retreat, and I have been really enjoying the clips, the videos, the pictures, all of the things. Tell us how it was.
Okay, listen, I did get married and I love my husband and I love my children. However, this was the best weekend of my life. It was
happens.
I was like, I'm really happy that I have my family. However, it was, there's no words to describe it other than that it was entirely divinely guided, because there's just no way that my human could have created the perfection that unfolded. So yeah, I mean, it was just so beautiful. I'm actually going to go live later today and just talk all about it, because I want to, and I still can't stop talking about it. And it's perfect that we're talking about spiritual empowerment today, because, I'm glowing, baby. I'm a new woman.
Yeah, I love it. And, it's funny because I will have experiences like that and I will be flying for like weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks, just completely on a high. And I'll want to talk about it. I'll want to go live, write a blog, write a book, tell a friend, call someone. I want to just go on and on. And people, at some point, people are like, Jessica, would you please stop? Just stop it already. Anne Marie's joining us. Good morning, Anne Marie. It's good to see you this morning. Mandy is here as well. And if you guys are just joining, please say hello and let us know what's bringing you joy today. And so we've been talking about, through your series, about empowerment. And I love that we're ending the series with spiritual empowerment, because I feel like our spiritual connection really encapsulates everything else that we're doing. And so I have lots of things that I would like to touch on, but again, let's give everybody a quick recap of what empowerment, what that word means to you, and then we'll dive into the spiritual part.
Yeah. So we started talking about that in the vein of personal empowerment, and really about taking responsibility and being devoted to yourself. And that's really what empowerment's about. The more that you get to know yourself, the more that you spend that intimate time understanding what you're meant for and how you're meant to impact yourself and others in this lifetime, the more you're going to be mobilized and motivated forward, and not distracted by all the shiny objects and other people's opinions.
I know about the shiny objects.
Me too.
To say. It's not easy. It's not easy to minimize the distractions, especially now in the world of social media. We had so much less distractions when we were kids, Laura, because this wasn't an option.
Oh, exactly.
I love that. So when we get into the conversation of spiritual empowerment, what do you mean when you would tell people to be empowered spiritually?
Right. So there's obviously 20 layers to this.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to make this simple. So, one is choosing to be devoted and making your spirituality your top priority, because when you do that, you really open yourself, your heart, your field, whatever you want to call it, to receiving wherever you're meant to go next, whatever spirit has for you. And when we allow ourselves to be kind of moved by spirit rather than just moving on our own agenda, it's amazing how easy life can be and how our decisions become so clear, and we're guided by God. We're guided by the universe. So it's like, dude, of course I'm empowered. Like, like obviously I'm taking direction from the highest level of intelligence, And so just that alone is super empowering, because you get to leave your doubt at the door when you're taking guidance from a being that has a hell of a lot more perspective than we do.
Yeah. And so when you talk about spiritual empowerment, I want to clarify for everybody whether you mean a certain belief system, a certain deity, a certain religion, are you talking about something in particular, or are you saying, look, this is whatever spirituality means to you?
It's whatever it means to you. God can mean something different to everyone. The universe can mean something different to everyone. So it's really just whatever it means to you, but creating a relationship with something that is a higher than yourself, right? Like either part of our creation or part of what we're continuing to create. It could be Mother Earth. You could be just in a good relationship with Mother Earth, and that's enough, Yeah. So no, it's not defined in any way, but it's you deciding to surrender and to trust something that is not tangible.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things I wanted to dive into is because you and I are both Reiki practitioners. You're also an Akashic Records practitioner. And, I have other titles, you have other titles, and these different modalities that we have played with over the years. Obviously, each of those modalities comes with, and even if we're talking about religion and different religions and everything else, everything comes with a tradition, with certain ways of doing things. And I think for me over the years, I have been challenged in trying to find my own way of doing things while still being sure to not lose what it is that I'm practicing, like to throw all of the tradition out the window. What is that like? And it is tying into what we're talking about of being empowered, because we want to make it what we're comfortable with. But do you ever feel like there's a line of where we lose the tradition or the intent completely?
I don't think so. I think that as long as it's genuine, like for instance, I was talking to someone once who is part of the Catholic tradition, and I asked her, I was like, hey, why is it, I said, and this was years ago, I was like, why is it that people who are in the Catholic tradition do not eat meat on Fridays during Lent? And she goes, I don't know. The priest told me to.
Yeah.
And that for me is where we can lose the intent, and really we don't have meaning within the ritual, right? Like we can create rituals and traditions however we desire. Right. They don't have to be part of traditional religious institutions, but it's just having a belief. That's my thing. It's like, make sure that your belief is super strong. One of my mentors always says, what do you believe for? What is it that you're believing for, not just what you're believing in? And I think that's the piece. Like if you believe in something wholeheartedly, even if that's to be a mom, right? Like believing in something wholeheartedly and devoting yourself to it, that's where the empowerment comes in, because the more you devote, the more you believe, the more you open yourself, the more you can speak boldly about your beliefs and how true and real they are for you and the impact they've had.
Right. Truly, sometimes even I see this even in the spiritual community, more spiritual exploration community, that people will see somebody doing something and they'll literally just jump in and start doing it without asking that exact question of what am I doing this for and why? And so there's no religion, there's no spiritual practice, there's no spiritual belief that is immune to how we get as humans, which is to just jump in and do shit without knowing what the hell we're doing it for.
Even yesterday, I've been so proud of myself because I've been doing my breath work every day since the retreat. And so I did my breath work yesterday, and I realized in the midst of it that I hadn't set an intention. And who cares? I mean, it still benefits me anyway, right? Like whatever.
Yeah.
But, that is how we can start to slip, right? Like where it's like, okay, now I'm just going to start doing this because it's rote and it's habitual and I'm used to it, right? It's like immerse yourself, sink in, allow yourself to deepen.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm glad you brought up the Catholic tradition as well, because that's how I grew up. And my grandmother, she converted to Catholicism after she married my grandfather, and she was all in. She could answer every question about the meat and then some, like that. And she knew why she was doing it. She was completely like, she understood the tradition. She very much still, made her spiritual practice her own. She would get up every morning, and I knew not to, if she was in the living room in the morning, you just didn't go in there, because she would she would have her Bible time, her prayer time. She had all the things that she would do. And but her practice also included, she had exercises that she did, like physical exercises. She had lots of stuff that she did. And she always kept it very true to her, despite whatever anybody told her to do. And she was the first one, if the church said to do something, or if somebody at church said to do something, to be like, well, why? Why are we doing
her?
And so, a lot of people, I think, have things to say about other beliefs that they don't understand, but it's because they don't understand it. I think that they have those things to say.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I remember when I had a client as a traditional therapist, and this was like a decade ago, but she was talking about, it was very clear that she had some racism going on with some people that she worked with. And I said to her, I was like, have you gotten to know her? Like, have you taken time to have a conversation and understand like who she is and how she ticks and what's on her heart? And, and I think that's the thing. It's like when we run into something that we don't fully understand or is coming from a context we don't get, we dismiss it, or we think it's wrong, or we label it. And it's like, get to know it, ask questions, get curious, learn. It's an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you suggest to people, okay, let's start with this question. How would you say would be a good indicator that we are not spiritually empowered?
So one of the best indicators that we're not spiritually empowered, there's a few. I would say one is feeling really empty inside and really lonely on a consistent basis. There's a difference between, I appreciate being by myself, and solace is something that assists me and makes me feel whole, and I feel lonely. Like when I'm by myself, I feel empty. There's something missing. And the other piece is just go through your life, kind of checking a lot of things off the list, but not really immersing yourself in anything. And that immersion could be joy, right? But you're not allowing yourself to go deeper. And that when things hit the fan and things get hard, you're choosing to rest in stillness and rest in your spirituality or whatever you believe in, rather than feeling like, oh, life is out to get me. Life is, the universe has dealt me a rough hand, and therefore blah, blah, blah. Right. And so it's being able to say, no, like I have access to infinite resource and I can just access this at any time. And when things hit like this, it's always a thank you so much for showing me that I am ready to move into my next level and immerse even deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we recognize those things in ourselves, if we realize, okay, clearly I'm not empowered where my spirituality is concerned, how do we then get into that space of empowerment. I know we've talked throughout the series of really getting in touch with yourself, going within, asking yourself what we want. So I'm sure that ties into all of this, but specifically when it comes to spirituality, how do you suggest we go on that empowerment route?
So I'm a big fan of very clearly delineating between the universe and God, because God created the universe. And so I think there's a lot of people who really dive into the universe and working with energy, but then they don't necessarily acknowledge the God piece. And that's okay. That's okay. I mean, if that's where you're comfortable, go for it. But what I have learned through my journey very tangibly is that once I stopped hiding behind the universe and decided to say, no, I desire to own the God within me, to own the spirit within me, and not just say, oh, it's external to me. Even though it's the universe, it's external to me. When I connect with that God energy and I allow myself to rise up and stand next to God, have a conversation, hold God's hands, and ask, how am I meant to serve? When you step all the way up there, you're going to feel it. And I remember the first time I did that, all I wanted to do was just like bow, because I felt so inadequate next to God versus swimming around in the universe and hanging out with the stars. Right. And so it was like, when I stood next to God, it was like, this feels blasphemous. Like, I'm not supposed to be standing next to God. Like, this is wrong, And so it was really being able to open myself to receiving the bigness of that energy.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, it's always been like, from even I remember from the time that I was little, growing up in the Catholic Church, it always felt to me like it needed to be a partnership. Like it needed to be this, yes, God is the creator of all, but in that creation, he created me and I have a job to do. Like he gave me, I always say God gives us hands and feet for a reason. He wouldn't if we weren't supposed to do anything to contribute to this world. And so, and then, there's a lot of things that tie into that, but yeah, I think, I learned recently. Now, listen, I don't, like we've said already, everybody's spiritual practice is their own, but I would encourage everybody, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Laura, that if something is being taught that feels off, if something is being taught that where they're teaching, one thing over another and it doesn't feel right to you, question it. Think to yourself logically. I learned recently of someone teaching that your chakras must be completely aligned in order to do Reiki. So logically, immediately I'm thinking, okay, so it doesn't make the sense. It doesn't make the sense to me. And so I'm saying this out loud. I'm like, okay, let me just, maybe I was taught wrong. Let me break this down here and it doesn't, so don't, if you hear things that are off to you, please, for the love of God.
Right. Well, and the thing is, like, listen to your heart, listen to your body, right? Like, I grew up in the Presbyterian church and I was actually going to be a Presbyterian minister, but I said the F word too much. So let's be real. But anyway, yeah. And so I would go to church every Sunday. I was part of Bible school. I was just like the queen of my church. And then, but I didn't feel it there like I did when I was laying outside staring at the stars when I was camping. That's where I felt really, really close to God, even though I was quote unquote religious, Right. And so it was really about, and I think that I felt torn when I was younger between that, because there was like this feeling that I had with God, but then there was like, but I'm the good girl and I'm supposed to be following all the rules of religion. So like, how do I bring these two together? Right. Like I have these rules, but then I have this feeling. And so it's being able to like take the rituals you like. I loved my wedding, man, because I planned the entire service. I picked every hymn I loved, every prayer. Like that was brilliant. It was my favorite church service ever because I got to pick everything. And that's the thing. It's like pick what resonates. Like I still like to sing the doxology and, because it just feels so good in my bones. Like choose what feels right.
And, now that you're saying that, I really feel like maybe that's why I have always felt, I had always felt connected, and the most connected at church was when I was directing the choir, because I chose the music, I chose the layout, I chose where things go. And it was like, I would read whatever scriptures were going to be read that day, and then combine it with the music that I really felt and all of that stuff. And I made how it was going to be. And so I think that empowerment of choosing how you're going to lay it out in the ways that makes you feel closest to God is absolutely the empowering part.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go.
I was just going to say, the other piece that comes up around that too is like, I got to the point where I started getting away from church services and just doing like small Bible studies for a while, when I was still in the church. And I think it's because I was drawn more and more to kind of doing this in either a more intimate community or on my own, like going more and more within and leaning back. And I think that can be confusing for people because spiritual empowerment a lot of times requires that we pull back and quiet the noise and identify what it is we desire and what feels good for us. And then we can go back out and interact with others around it. So that's normal. If you're like, yeah, but I don't really talk to anybody. It's like, well, those are also phases of spiritual empowerment, of getting to that point, because we need to kind of quiet the outside sometimes.
Yeah. And, I love how things have tied in throughout all of these series. We were talking about something else the other day, where we talked about sometimes you have to go in order to come back. And then when you do come back, you're not taking a step backwards. You're not repeating the experience. It's impossible because you're a different person now. You've experienced different things. You have different perspectives. And I mean, even physically speaking, our cells are new all the time. So we're physically a different person coming into the space. So I think that sometimes it's necessary to go and come back from our spiritual practices as well. Because we might need, and I've done that with little things I've done. I went a while without doing Reiki at all, and then came back to it. And I went a while without, even doing meditation, which was a big mistake for me. I just needed to change what the meditation was.
Right.
In order, like, sometimes cold turkey is not the thing you should be doing.
Right.
We learned that really quickly.
Well, I was just going to say, you'll find out real fast. Yeah. I know. I did that too. Like when I was recovering from sepsis, and I was just like, dude, like I'd skip a day of meditation and I'd feel like crap. And I'm like, oh, right. Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to switch it up a little bit. It's not that we might need to get rid of something, but maybe if I think a lot of this empowering series that you've been talking about is really getting in tune with yourself and those subtle messages that we receive, whether we're talking about personal empowerment, empowerment at work, empowerment in our homes, empowerment with spirit, all of that stuff. It's about listening to those little nudges and then evaluating and going, okay, do we need to make changes now?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And allowing the inner compass to really guide you versus comparing, like we talked about in the relationships one, to like everything around you and what you're supposed to be doing to be successful or to be considered pious or to be considered complete. Just like, oh, you need all your chakras aligned before you do a Reiki attunement. I mean, it's also just funny, like considering what you were saying earlier, to question even just like random beliefs, like at all that are handed, like who makes these up?
Yeah.
Like who makes them up? Humans make them up. We're the ones who came up with language. That's why developing that personal relationship with any higher power that you believe in is really the best way, because the more that we do that, the more unique messages we're each getting, the more we learn about the divine, the more access we have to this infinite energy that we can't see, that can be a little challenging for us to understand sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the empowerment too is also going back to what we talked about yesterday on the show, you guys, with Shifra. Shifra was talking about emotional idols that we have, and how to kind of smash those. And, you know, I think sometimes we get into these beliefs that we have, and we're worshiping the belief instead of what we're supposed to be doing, like, and not just not paying attention to what we're doing. Again, it goes back to what you were saying before about, you know, we just do things without question. We don't know why we're doing them, and I think it's so important to evaluate that. And if we're all in, like we say we are, if we're saying XYZ is my spiritual belief, then shouldn't we know why why we're doing that?
Yeah, and be invested in it,
Yeah.
you know, like wholeheartedly believe in it, and not because, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who feel that spirituality is a crutch,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that it can be if you're not really deeply immersing and actually feeling it to the core of your being. It really can be. But it's that devotion that's like Anne Marie's saying she hasn't felt aligned in several days, right? And so you have that awareness. You just put that out there. You said that. So now that you have that awareness, you get to prioritize that if you desire. So does that mean you desire to feel aligned? It sounds like you do. So then you follow. I just made a reel yesterday on God communicates primarily through our desire. That is how God communicates with us. And so if you have a desire to feel aligned, you follow that. If you have a desire to have a drink of water, have a drink of water. If you have a desire to go on a walk, it's these small moments too. Because when you follow the small moments, they build on each other. And then you might end up on that walk talking to a neighbor who has this mind-blowing aha moment that solves your problem. You know what I mean? So, so I love that, because that awareness really sheds light on, okay, do I desire this? Because if I desire this, that's God communicating. And as I listen and cultivate that relationship, I'll receive more.
And again, tying into yesterday's show, Schiffer was talking, her advice was, what do you laugh and cry at? What are the things that you laugh and cry at? Because that's where we receive all of this information about where our energy is going and what we're doing. And so I just love how all of this is tying together for sure. So good. So I know that the bulk of what we've been talking about throughout this series has been internal, going within, listening to those little voices, evaluating ourselves. But at what point, and if at all, does the importance come in of surrounding ourselves with people who are empowering with us?
So I think that I personally desire that along the whole journey, but especially when you're feeling stuck or you're early on in your journey, or you're in like a plateau or a transition point, that's where we can rely on other people even more to be able to activate that within us, remind us. It's really just a reflection for us as to what exists within us. And we look for those empowering others because we want to see that in ourselves, and they mirror it to us, right? And so I think that it allows us to do that together, but it's also when you're at a point where you're ready to deepen and you're ready to get to that next level, just like me with my retreat this past weekend, right? Or 2 weekends ago, I guess at this point, which is being in the presence of other spiritual people who desire the same, you know, amplifies the vibe. And so you're going to feel it. And that's the thing. If you're tuned in and you're connected, you're going to know when to share it with other people. You're going to know when to connect and amplify it through other people. But I think particularly at the beginning of your journey, when you're at the plateau and when you're ready to just like skyrocket to the next level.
Right. And I love how you said that you desire to have that throughout your journey, because there's nothing wrong with desiring uplifting people in your circle. We put a lot of energy and effort into saying that all of this empowerment and joy and happiness and peace comes from within. Yes, I agree 100%. But I just have a really hard time believing that we were put on this earth to not utilize the other humans around us for our support on our journey. I have a really hard time believing that. So as much as we promote that internal growth, and it's so important, I think, and at the both same time, those relationships around us are so important, and it is okay for us to desire that empowerment from other people, joy from other people, happiness from other people, validation from other people. It's okay for us to want that.
I mean, our souls wouldn't have chosen to come down and become human if we weren't meant to do that. Like, we can sit on a freaking mountaintop by ourselves for 30 years and be as spiritual as hell, right? But I mean, it's the other people around us that are really bringing us the opportunity to be able to know ourselves deeper and to be able to internalize this more permanently. Yeah.
100%. 100%. All right, Laura, what final thoughts do you have for us about your empowerment series from this past month?
I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that you guys have joined me for this. And I just encourage you to do a mix of listening to your desire. Let's start with that. Listen to your desire, allow it to guide you, and be confident in it. Write it down if you have to. Talk to somebody else. Get yourself rah-rah. Put on a fancy song that makes you feel like dancing and makes you feel strong, right? Because we have all of these resources available to us to access. So use them. Let your desire guide you. Use them and allow all of these little breadcrumbs to build on each other, so that you can put together this nice little web and picture of what empowerment looks like and feels like and means to you, so that you can speak boldly about it.
I love that. I love that. Amazing final thoughts. Of course, I'm so thrilled that you've been here this last month with us. It's been a lot of fun to reconnect and have this series with you, Laura.
Thank you so much. This has been fabulous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We want to make sure people go visit you on your website, emergehealingandwellness.com. Remind everybody what they can find there and what kind of goodies they can get into.
Oh, there's so many goodies. There's a resource page where you can watch videos on, I'll show you how to open the Akashic records and chant, and show you how to do tapping. And there's free journals and an ebook on mastering your intuition, all the things. You can just navigate, play, read my story, send me a message, and just hang out.
I love it. I love it. Laura, thank you so much again for being here this last month. I'm going to miss you now on Tuesday mornings.
So fun. Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to visit Miss Brittany, and we're going to listen to our For Love poem in Hungarian today. So we will be right back after this. Thanks again, Laura.
Thanks for watching the Breakthrough Show Network. Today, we'd like to support our friend over at Nail Beauty by Brittany. Purchase your custom press-on Reiki-infused nails by visiting nailbeautybybrittany.com. Don't forget your discount by using the code BREAKTHROUGH. And now, back to the show.
A szeretet az én váram, nehéz szívvel is, összetört lélekkel is. A szeretet az én váram, mert a világ ketté szakadt, nem csak az én kis országom, ahol leginkább biztonságban vagyok, ahol jól érzem magam, hanem az egész világ minden nap. A szeretet az én váram, mert fényre vágyunk. Ne legyen több halott, ne legyen többé harc, ne legyen több bomba. A szeretet az én váram, hogy gyermekeink békében éljenek, hogy barátaink biztonságban legyenek, hogy határaink megnyíljanak. A szeretet az én váram, nehéz szívvel is, összetört lélekkel is.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. That was a For Love poem in Hungarian today by our fabulous Noemi Lockman. Sorry, you guys. Oh my goodness. I'm clicking all the wrong things this morning. I hope you enjoyed that version of the poem. I invite you to check it out at weshallstandforlove.world to see all the different versions of the poem and connect with Dorothy Auger, the author of the poem, there as well. So listen, what is going on today for birthdays? Let me know if anybody has a birthday today that they are celebrating. In the entertainment world, in the celebrity world, there are a few birthdays today. We have Brooke Shields has a birthday today, actress Brooke Shields. Actor Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn. Clint Eastwood has a birthday today. Also, let's see, Andy Hurley, the drummer for Fall Out Boy's birthday is today. Actor Colin Farrell, actress Leah Thompson also have birthdays today as well. In the celebrities in my life, a couple school friends, Carrie Beckwith Sheridan has a birthday today, and Kelly Veer has a birthday today as well. So wishing them an amazing day, and hope everybody that has a birthday has an incredible time. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brooke Shields, Clint Eastwood, Andy Hurley, Colin Farrell, Leah Thompson, Carrie Beckwith Sheridan, and Kelly Veer. Happy birthday to you. Yes. Happy birthday to everybody that's celebrating today from the Breakthrough Show Network. All right, so I gotta let you know what's coming up this afternoon on the Breakthrough Show Network, 5:05 p.m. Central Time. We have an all-new episode of My Way, conversations with entrepreneurs doing business outside the box. A personal friend of mine is joining us on the show today, April Grimlong. Most people just know her as Grim, and she will be on the show tonight. She is your personal WordPress consultant. We'll be talking about websites, but also, look, she's been doing things her way from the beginning, and she has some opinions about websites and website building that may be really outside the box for some people, things that maybe you haven't heard promoted before. So be sure to tune in this afternoon. Really excited to have her on the show. It's going to be amazing. And don't forget, tomorrow morning on Project Joy Live, I will be back for business as usual here on the show. We will be doing a recap of everything that has gone on over the last month of all of our May series. On Thursday, it's going to be official announcement day. We have some big announcements with the Breakthrough Show. I have some big personal announcements to share. And of course, I invite you to come on the show by going to projectjoypodcast.com and clicking the Join Live button to share what's bringing you joy. And also, if there's any announcements or things that you want to share. And then Friday, of course, will be Fun Friday. Anything goes. So don't miss that the rest of the week. Really excited to share about the announcements that we have come. I'm so excited to share all of it with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anne Marie, Mandy, and everybody else who's been joining us today, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
You've been tuned in to Project Joy Live with Jessica Dugas, your weekday morning talk show, inviting you to start your day with a triple shot of good vibes only on the Breakthrough Show Network. Binge all past episodes of Project Joy at projectjoypodcast.com. Until next time, help us spread the joy by sharing this episode, and we'll see you soon.
Hello to the Breakthrough Show. It's Shirley